Hello, everyone. My name is Tina Malhotra, and I'm a verified educator at an academy. So, here, friends, I'll be starting with certain current affairs, approximately four in number. So, here, then, I'll be discussing those current affairs that gained importance in the year 2018. So, right when you start preparing for UPSC, maybe, or let's say for any other banking examination, you're being told to read the editorial section. Editorial section holds a lot of importance. Why? Mainly because of two facts. That number one, it contains all the facts. Number two, along with these facts, there is analysis of those current affairs. So if you're preparing for, let's say, even UPSC or any other banking examination, it's very important for you to have your own opinion, right? So that is something which is extremely important. That is why you've been repeatedly told to read these current affairs. So I'll be covering four current affairs which I feel are important for the year 2018. And I suggest that you listen about these current affairs and form your own opinion on it. It will help you to write your answer in a better manner. Right. So, firstly, I'll be starting with the blockchain technology. Right. Now, friends, we'll start from the very basic. What is there in blockchain technology, particularly? Let us start with medium of exchange. What was the medium of exchange which was being used earlier? We had this barter system which was used, right? मेरे पास कोई सामान है, I'll give it to you. You have something else, you give it to me. We're going to exchange it, right? इसे हम exchange कर सकते हैं the goods that you want and something that I want, right? So this is known as the medium of exchange, wherein we use a barter system. However, now we have progressed a little. How we have progressed now? We're using the currency notes, right? Along with the currency notes, we're using coins. Again, further on, we started switching to credit cards. Now, what was the need of having debit and credit cards when we already had those currency notes and coins? The entire purpose of having was that it should be a widely acceptable method. We can transact very easily, right? So that was the entire purpose here, the entire purpose of having medium of exchange. Now, this brings us to two types of currencies. We have one in a digital form and the other one in the physical form. Physical form, what are we using? Right now, we're using coins, we're using notes, right? So that is something which comes in a physical form. And for digital form, we have credit card, we have debit cards. Nowadays, we're using Paytm, PayPal, right? So all these form part of digital form. Now, in this century, if we're talking about digital form of currency, it becomes very important for us to discuss about the cryptocurrency. Right now, what is there in cryptocurrency? I've read a lot of articles about it. I feel the most perfect way to understand what a cryptocurrency is to read the features of cryptocurrency. So, approximately, there are 6 features of cryptocurrency that I'll be discussing here. The first one is that it is digital. Everything is being done on the computer, right? Now, there is no physical cash. Basically, there's no physical form of currency involved. There is no cash involved. There are no coins involved, right? So that is why we say it's in a digital form. Number two, it's decentralized. In cryptocurrency, कोई एक central server नहीं होता है, right? It's distributed across a network which may have maybe thousands of computers, right? So there is no one single server from where we can start with this cryptocurrency. The third one is that it is peer to peer. Take an example here of Paytm. What do we do in Paytm? We give our personal information to somebody else, right? हम Paytm में क्या करते हैं? Usually, while we use Paytm, अपने debit card information, हमारी credit card information, we give it to a third trusted party, which is Paytm, जो कि further आगे किसी और को दे देते हैं वो information, right? So this is what happens in Paytm. However, cryptocurrency is different here. It is from peer to peer, person to person चलता है cryptocurrency, right? If I am using it, I can transact with some other person और कोई mediator नहीं आएगा बीच में. There is no intermediary in between, right? So that is the entire point here. Next is it's pseudonymous. You don't have to give any of your personal details so as to use cryptocurrency. आपको अपने आधार details देने की जरूरत नहीं है. You don't have to give anything else while you're using cryptocurrency. Fifth point here is that it is encrypted. Now, if let's say I'm using cryptocurrency, I'll be given certain codes. Those codes are going to stay with me, right? So while those codes are there with me, so in that case, I should say that it is encrypted. Particularly, crypto here means that it is hidden. Okay, friends. So here I've been asked something about I've been asked what does peer-to-peer mean. So peer-to-peer means person to person. एक बंदा और दूसरे बंदे के बीच में ही ट्रांजैक्शन है, कोई मिडिल पार्टी नहीं है बीच में. There's no third trusted party as happens in the case of Paytm for example. Right? तभी हम इसे कहते हैं कि person to person एक direct contact होता है. Right? Last point here is that it's a global concept here. Right? Now, what is there in global concept? It's a currency. We commonly call cryptocurrency as a currency without borders. कोई borders नहीं होते. For example, the countries, every country it has its own currency, जिसे हम fiat currency कहते हैं. Now, if you have to transfer this currency to some other country, right, it is a very difficult task. However, this cryptocurrency, it works globally, right? So these are the main features of cryptocurrency that I would like you to know. Now, a very famous form of cryptocurrency, rather I should say, is a Bitcoin. Right? Now, Bitcoin I'm sure you all must have heard about Bitcoin. If you're clear about what a cryptocurrency is, I'm sure Bitcoin easily samajh aa jata hai. I'll give you a little history about what a Bitcoin is. Now, this all started in the year 1991. Right? Now, 1991 mein, what happened was that they had published certain works about what a Bitcoin is. However, main काम शुरू हुआ in the year 2008 when there was a person by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. That person had published a Bitcoin white paper. Now that paper explained Bitcoin hota kya hai, Bitcoin how does it work, right? So that is being explained there in that particular paper. In the very next year itself, that is in the year 2009, the first Bitcoin transaction had been made, right? So wherein this person Satoshi Nakamoto, he had sent 10 Bitcoins to another person by the name of Hal Finney, right? So this happened. So at that particular point of time when this took place, okay, I've been asked here that Satoshi, he's not the CEO of Bitcoins. It's not like that. We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. He could be a person, he could be a man, could be a woman, could be a group as well. We have heard about Satoshi Nakamoto from mails. He had written papers as well. So that is how we know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. However, there's no as such information about that particular, maybe a person or a group, let's say. Right? So I was saying that the first transaction for Bitcoins, it took place in the year 2009. So at that particular point of time, when Satoshi Nakamoto had given 10 Bitcoins to another person, right? So at that particular point of time, the value of one Bitcoin was equals to $1. Last I checked on 29th of June 2018, the value of one Bitcoins was 10,000 US dollars, right? Itna value बढ़ चुका है. Now we move on to our main concept. It was important for me to lay a little background कि cryptocurrency क्या होता है और what is Bitcoins. Main concept यहाँ पे है what is a blockchain, as has been rightly commented by someone here. Bitcoin, it's a transaction system. जो हम जितने भी transactions करते हैं by using cryptocurrency, ये एक public ledger system में record किया जाता है, which is known as Bitcoin, which is known as blockchain technology. Right? Now there are various positives of this blockchain technology. First is that it is safe. It is cost effective. Then also another important point for this blockchain technology is this, that you can store, or let's say you can record your legal documents, you can record your personal documents. All those things can be done here on this blockchain technology, right? Now, friends, it is important for you to know that what is the government's stance here as far as Bitcoins and cryptocurrency is involved. Firstly, please remember that cryptocurrency is not legal in India. This has been made very clear by the finance minister in the union budget of 2018, that this cryptocurrency, it's not a legal tender. However, the finance minister has very clearly pointed out this as well, that he has recognized what a blockchain technology is. Right? Now, this brings me to my last point for this for the topic of blockchain technology is a current affair. Recently, it has come up that the first government blockchain center, it has come up at Hyderabad. Right? How they're going to use this blockchain technology? They're going to digitize and they're going to secure the land records at Telangana. Right? So right now, this is the entire case here. Also, please remember that the ICICI Bank is the first one to execute transactions by using this cryptocurrency. Right? Now, friends, right now, I've been asked here in the comment section as well. As I've already told you, that cryptocurrency is not a legal tender in India. The main reason being, as I've discussed in the features also, कि ये pseudonymous होता है. The cryptocurrency, but you are doing other steps to ensure that the identity of the person is there, in that case, obviously, you can use cryptocurrency. Right now, the current status given by the finance minister in the union budget of 2018 is this, that cryptocurrency is not a legal tender, right? Okay, so next we'll be talking about, my second topic here is with regards to energy needs. Now, friends, whenever you have to write about the energy needs, please remember you need to point out towards three facts. The first fact is that India is facing energy demands right now. Acute energy shortage is there. Number two, that there is a need to switch to cleaner fuel. Number three, India is working towards rural electrification. Right? These are three main points that you need to keep in mind while you're writing an answer, maybe as far as energy sector is concerned. Right? Now the consumption of energy has increased. If we compare it to, let's say, 2000s, right, it has approximately doubled right now if we look at the energy demands of India, right? Even recently there was this current affair here. It has clearly said that this was given by the union power minister RK Singh. He had pointed out the fact that now the default settings for air conditioners have been recommended to be set at 24 degrees Celsius, right? Obviously, number one, it's going to save energy. It's going to save your budget as well. Now we have come to this, that this has been recommended by our union power minister. Let's see if it comes or it does not come. But right now, if you look at the energy demands, this was the need of the hour, right? So since we're talking about energy, there are two main things about energy here. Firstly, there are two main sources. Number one, I'm sure you must be aware of, non-renewable or the conventional sources. Secondly, we have the renewable and the, or commonly known as the non-conventional sources, right? Now, friends, India is the third largest user of energy after China and US. However, this is surprising to know that 80% of the energy demands of India, they are being met by using the conventional sources, right? We are being using oils, we're using gas, we're using coal, right? So we're using the conventional technology despite knowing the fact that it's not a sustainable choice, it's not environment friendly. That is why India is taking certain measures so as to switch to cleaner fuel, so as to generate electricity, and they've taken many steps here, right? I'm not discussing the small points here. For example, India has taken a lot of steps so as to, in the energy sector, such as India has brought about this largest floating solar plant in Canada, in Kerala. I'm so sorry. So they've brought this in Kerala, right? I'll be discussing certain important points here, that certain steps rather that have been taken by the government in the year 2018. First is the International Solar Alliance Summit of 2018. Now, here in this particular summit, a 10-pointer action plan had been taken wherein they had decided to promote solar energy. Right now, this was launched in the year 2015, and this has been launched by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and the then President of France was Francois Hollande. Now, this International Solar Alliance Summit, it basically is an alliance of 121 countries, right? So kindly remember all these points. And the main purpose of having this alliance is to promote solar energy, right? So kindly remember that particular one. Second point here is the ethanol blended petrol program. I suggest you write all these points down. It will become easier for you to understand. For second point is ethanol blended petrol program, wherein they're going to blend ethanol and petrol, as the name suggests, and they're going to bring it under the category of biofuel. How this is going to be helpful? Obviously, it's going to be environment friendly. इससे pollution कम होगा, right? So ये बहुत extremely, it will be extremely helpful if this ethanol blended petrol program, it comes into force. Third point is the draft of National Energy Policy, which was rolled out by Niti Aayog. Please remember that this draft of energy policy, ये भी 2018 में ही आया है. Now, what is the aim of bringing about the draft National Energy Policy? The first main reason of having this is to reduce the import dependency of India. We are dependent upon imports, so as to reduce that and increase the energy in India itself, we have this draft National Energy Policy. Second point here is कि affordable electricity मिल सके सबको. That is the point. That is the reason why we have this draft National Energy Policy, which is rolled out in the year 2018 itself. Third important point here is it's the fourth important point. It's the 16th International Energy Forum Ministerial, which was hosted by India itself, right? Now, what is the aim of having the International Energy Forum? The aim here was to understand and create an awareness about the common interest of the member nations with regard to energy only, right? As the name suggests clearly. Please remember that the 16th International Energy Forum Ministerial, it has 72 member countries. There are 72 member countries who are signatory to the IEF Charter, which is International Energy Forum Charter. Remember this particular point. Also, last point here with regard to the 16th International Energy Forum is this. What is the theme of this forum? So kindly incorporate in your answer as well. This is the future of global energy security, transition, technology, trade, and investment. So this was the theme for the year 2018. Next point is the National Policy on Biofuels of 2018. Now, friends, this national policy on biofuels of 2018, this was approved by the government of India in the year 2018 itself. That is why it is in news. Firstly, please remember that this particular national policy on biofuels, it was drafted in the year 2009. However, this has been approved by the government in the year 2018 itself. Now, what are the benefits that you have of this national policy on biofuels? Friends, please remember that the benefit of having this national policy on biofuels is number one, that you can set up a biofuel refinery here, right? So there'll be an investment in the in the biorefinery as well. Number two, it's going to generate employment and it's going to protect the environment as well, right? So a greater picture, if you look at the bigger picture, if you look at the energy sector here is, the bigger picture is that they are trying to protect environment, and side by side they're trying to increase the energy requirements. They're trying to fulfill the energy requirements of India. Next, I'm going to talk about the Atal Jyoti Yojana. Now, friends, this Atal Jyoti Yojana is important. This has been launched by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and this particular yojana is about installing solar street lights. Right. So again, they're trying to switch to solar energy. We have taken a lot of steps by which we are setting up solar plants. Right. So this is very important for our nation right now. So I'm going to conclude this topic as well by the last point, which is about the Global Environment Facility. Right now, friends, what is Global Environment Facility here? This particularly, it's a facility which gives grants to the developing countries so that they can do something towards environment, so that they can protect environment. So that is the entire purpose of having this Global Environment Facility. Now, why this is an important current affair right now? Because India has decided to increase the funding to this Global Environment Facility. Earlier, we were giving 12 million US dollars, but now it has been increased to 15 million US dollars. Right? So this one is extremely important as well. So kindly remember. So while you're writing an answer for energy needs, kindly remember, add 3 points. Number one, that we are trying to fulfill all the energy requirements. We are moving towards electrification of rural areas. Number three, we're also trying to switch to cleaner fuel. We're trying to save environment side by side as well, along with all the important points which are being taken care in the year 2018, all the steps that have been taken by the government. Friends, my next important topic is with regard to difference between the president's and the governor's rule. Now, I've taken this topic in wake of what is happening in J&K, that there's a governor's rule that has been imposed there. So we'd like to know the difference between all these, right? Now, friends, firstly, I'll be creating a little background for you. What is happening in states, what is happening in union territories, and then we'll move on to what is happening in J&K. Now, firstly, what is there in state? Very simple, very basic, that it is being ruled by the state government. Now, just in case if there is a failure of constitutional machinery in a state, a president's rule is being imposed, right? Next is a union territory. Now, what is happening in union territory? This particular union territory, right? It is being, union territory is being ruled here by, you can say it is administered by the president, and it is being taken care by an administrator. Now, friends, one important point, please remember that it is up to the president to decide who is going to be the administrator, right? Number one, it can choose the administrator itself, right? Now, administrator may, who are persons who can serve as administrators. There can be the serving IAS officers, there can be retired army officers, along with IPS officers as well. Usually, administrators are appointed for small union territories, right? Then we have chief commissioners who are being appointed as administrators, right? Third, we have lieutenant governor. Now, lieutenant governor, we can say it's an upgradation of chief commissioner, right? These lieutenant governors are usually appointed for big UTs, such as right now we have lieutenant governor for Delhi, for Puducherry, as well as for Andamans and Nicobar Islands, right? For rest of it, we have for rest of the UTs, we have administrators, right? Now, this is the condition with state and union territories. Now, right now, I'll be discussing what is the condition of JNK. What happens if there is a comes into place after president has given assent for the imposition of the governor's rule, right? Now, right now, I'll be discussing. Okay, so right now I'll be discussing the difference between a president's rule and a governor's rule. Right now, president's rule is being imposed. Friends, I'll be discussing Article 370 and 35A as well, right? Okay, now this president's rule particularly, it's being imposed by it's being imposed under Article 356, and the governor's rule is imposed under Section 92 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, right? Now, what are the grounds under Article 356 that a president's rule can be imposed? Now, if a governor gives a report, or let's say otherwise it happens, president is satisfied that the state is not able to carry out the constitutional machinery, or let's say there's going to be a failure of constitutional machinery in the state, in that particular case, there is going to be there will be imposed this president rule, right? So what is going to happen here? President is going to have the powers of the state government. President is going to enjoy the powers of governor as well, right? Along with that, there'll be powers of legislature of the state. They shall be exercised under the authority of the parliament. This is the situation for president's rule under Article 356. Now, what is going to happen in the governor's rule? In the governor's rule, now in under Article 356, while this constitutional machinery fails in a state, and this is being imposed by the president. However, under Section 92 of Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, right, of Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, what happens there? It is in the hands of the governor. So if governor feels that the constitutional machinery has failed in a particular state, right? So in that case, the governor is going to impose this governor's rule. However, the same has to be done with the assent of the president, right? President's assent is extremely important under Section 92. Number one, that this particular president's rule will be imposed for a period of 6 months. Number two, let's say the proclamation, it is very important that the proclamation that has been made by the president, that there will be a president's rule imposed here, this particular proclamation has to be approved by both the houses of the parliament. अगर दोनों houses of parliament ने इसको approve नहीं किया है, in that case the time period for the proclamation of, let's say, president's rule is going to be there for a period of 2 months. There's this last third case of the term of president's rule. The third case here is that, let's say, if the House of People is dissolved, right, and the Council of States has given the approval, as I've already told you, इस proclamation को approval चाहिए दोनों houses का. तो let's say a situation comes जहाँ पे House of People dissolve हुआ है, however the Council of States ने अपना approval दे दिया है, right? So after the Council of States, after basically the House of People, it sits. Within 30 days, they have to give the approval. However, if within 30 days of sitting, House of People does not give the approval, the proclamation is going to cease after 30 days. Now, this is the scene with the president's rule under Article 356 of the Constitution, right? Now, what is the scene with the governor's rule in JNK under Section 92 of the JNK Constitution? It's going to be prevalent for a period of 6 months. Please remember that. Now, if the governor assumes power of the legislature, right, all the laws which are made by the governor, right, so all those laws shall have effect for a period of 2 years, right? There's one more important point here that you need to remember under Section 92 of JNK Constitution. It's this, that even after 6 months, if the constitutional machinery has not restored in the state of JNK, in that case, please remember Article 356 will be applicable. Please remember, this is extremely important, right? Article 356 will apply even after 6 months of imposition of governor's rule in JNK if constitutional machinery has not, let's say, restored in that particular state, right? So I think this is enough for this topic of the difference between president's rule and a governor's rule. I hope this is clear to you. Next is about Jammu and Kashmir. This is going to be my last topic here. Herein, I'll be discussing about the special status of J&K, particularly the two articles, as has been given by the comments as well. This had been given. Someone had commented on this as well. So I'll be discussing two sections primarily. First is Article 370. Second one is Article 35A. Right now, friends, please remember here. The debate right now is whether this 370A should be struck down or whether 35A should be struck down. Right now, we need to remember why. What was the reason as to the existence of Article 370, why it came into being. Firstly, please remember that Article 1 of the Constitution of India, it says that J&K is a constituent state of India, and Article 370, it gives a special status to J&K. So Maharaja Hari Singh in the year 947, he had decided that this J&K is going to be part of neither India nor Pakistan. However, when the Azad Kashmir forces, along with the Pakistan army, they attacked on Jammu and Kashmir, at that particular point of time, maybe it was near of the hour that they entered into the instrument of accession of J&K to India, right? So this happened on 20th of October 1947. Now, at that particular point of time, this Article 370, it was incorporated and it became operative in the year 1952 in the month of November. Now, the sole purpose of adding 370 to the Constitution was to give, or let's say to recognize, the distinct identity of the state of J&K. Right? Now, also the Constitution of J&K, it was adopted in the year 1956 and it came into force in the year 1957. Right, so this is how the J&K it became a part of India through instrument of accession and because of the special status given to Article 370. Now, friends, one thing that you need to remember here is that we don't have an answer right now as to whether this particular article can be revoked or not, or whether after this article is revoked, whether Pakistan would still be a part of India or not. Right now, if you're preparing for these entrance examinations, you need to have your own opinion on the same matter. Right, having an opinion is very important here because we don't have any judicial decisions as of now. We don't have a clarification whether it can happen or whether it cannot happen. Right, so we have to have our own opinion. So I have read a lot about 370 and 35A. So firstly, there are two separate questions. What are these two separate questions? Number one, whether Article 370 can be revoked or not. Second question is whether article, after revocation of 370, whether Pakistan would still be a part of India or not. So we'll take up the first question, whether Article 370 can be revoked. Now this brings us to a point. Can everybody revoke Article 370? Is it a temporary provision? You all must have read Article 370. I'm sure you must have read a point there that this Article 370 is a temporary provision. But do you really think it's a temporary provision? I'm going to rely on a judgment of the Supreme Court, which is given in the year 2017. There was this bench headed by Justice A.K. Goyal and R. Nariman. Now, therein they said that even though it has been mentioned in Article 370 that it's a temporary provision, it's not a temporary provision because we need to read subclause 3 of Article 370 along with it. Right? Now, what does subclause 3 Article 370 provide for? It provides that President can declare a particular article to be operative. It can declare a particular article, that is this Article 370, to be not operative, but only on the recommendations of Constituent Assembly of the state. Right? Now, I am speaking theoretically. Go by the theory. If you go by the theory that yes, it can be amended. Right? However, it can be done by the President alone on the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of the state. Right. This is the theoretical part. Now, friends, what are the problems that we are facing right now? Number one, legally speaking, it's impossible to struck down Article 370 if we go by subclause 3 of Article 370 because they are saying that it has to be done on the recommendations of the Constituent Assembly. But right now, we don't have a Constituent Assembly in J&K. Right, Constituent Assembly is not there. So what's the entire point? Right, there'll be no recommendation. So how can President act without a recommendation? Legally speaking, subclause 3 of Article 370 cannot apply in the present situation. Right. However, if we go by the extreme measures, Article 368 can apply. I feel it's wide enough to incorporate 317. It can, by through Article 368, we can struck off this Article 370. Right? Obviously, that is my opinion right now. You are entitled to have your own opinion, and it's good that if you have your own opinion, you do not agree with my opinion here, right? So kindly bring out certain arguments here. Now, since I was saying that Article 368 here, it can be struck down by virtue of Article 368. We can struck down Article 370 here. Now, here the bill has to be passed by each house. There has to be a majority of not less than 2/3 of members, and after that is done by both the houses, it will go to the president for assent. Right? This is going to happen. Just a minute, please. Yeah. So this is going to happen later. Right? So right now, theoretically speaking, 370A, subclause 3 of Article 370, it does not apply. We can struck off Article 370 if at most we have to do by using Article 368. It brings us to our next question, whether Pakistan would form a part of India or not. Again, there is no judicial decision on it. We can take our own view here. So I feel that since the instrument of accession had been signed, I feel it's nowhere different from any other instrument of accession. Right? Instrument of accession had been signed by Mysore, by the Maharaja of Mysore as well. So I feel it's just like any other instrument of accession. If in case Article 370, it does not, let's say, is revoked, in that case, our instrument of accession will come into picture, and Pakistan would still form. I'm so sorry, JNK would still form part of India. Right now, this is something. This is my point of view. I'm sure you guys have your own point of view. You can counter my point of view as well. But think over it. Right now, we don't have any judicial decision over it, so you have the right to form your own opinion. Right. So lastly, I'll be concluding it by Article 35A. Now, this allows legislature to define who permanent residents of the state of JNK are. Right now, the permanent residents are being issued a particular certificate. The certificate, it's a permanent resident certificate which is being given to them, and this is an added advantage. This is like a special advantage which the residents of JNK have. Right now, what is the advantage that they have particularly is that they only have the right to own and buy a property in JNK. Nobody else, let's say any other person from any other state, cannot just enter JNK and buy a property. That is a privilege rather which is given to the residents of JNK itself. Again, there is a debate to revoke this particular Article 35A. However, friends, this particular article, it came into being so as to protect the state's distinct demographic character. Right? So that was the entire purpose of bringing this Article 35 into picture. Now, I feel that it should not be revoked. Why? Because number one, the special status that has been conferred on JNK will not be protected. Any other person would go into JNK and buy a property there, right? There are serious security issues involved if we talk about Jammu and Kashmir. Secondly, it's going to open the state for the outsiders. Third, it's going to destroy the state's relation to India. There'll be a lot of unrest which will be there in India. Right? So I think this is it. I have completed all the 4 topics here. Friends, if you do not agree with the views that I have taken, leave it in the comment section. Give your opinion as well. Right? Even others can read and learn from it. Thank you so much.